The horizon over the Indian desert shattered. It wasn't the sound of a storm or a crash. It was the sound of the sky itself being torn apart. Two massive metal birds, carrying hundreds of unsuspecting souls, slammed into one another in the dark, silent void of 14,000 feet. In a fraction of a heartbeat, a routine evening turned into a firestorm that rained wreckage across the fields of Charkhi Dadri, leaving behind a silence more deafening than the impact itself. November 12, 1996. The air over northern India was clear, a calm evening for the thousands of feet above the village. It was a routine night for the controllers at Delhi's Indira Gandhi International Airport. Their screens were dotted with the light blips of air traffic, a dance of metal and engines that happened every single day, millions of times across the globe. But this night, a silent, invisible tragedy was unfolding in the darkness. Saudia Flight 763, a massive Boeing 747, had just departed from Delhi. It was a heavy, lumbering giant, climbing steadily into the night sky, carrying 312 passengers and crew, heading toward Dhahran. At the same time, miles away, a smaller, older Soviet-era workhorse, a Kazakhstan Airlines Ilyushin IL-76, was descending toward the same airport. It was carrying 37 people, miners, traders, and families coming to Delhi for business. In the cockpit of the Ilyushin, the atmosphere was strained. Language was the first barrier. The pilots were not fluent in English, the universal language of aviation. Every word from the controller had to be filtered through a radio operator, a man sitting behind the pilots, acting as a translator. Tension was high, and focus was fragile. As they approached the terminal area, the air traffic controller cleared the Kazakh flight to descend to 15,000 feet. The message went out, and the radio operator acknowledged. But inside the cockpit, the plane didn't level off. They descended further, E116 feet, then 14,000. They were drifting into a corridor they weren't supposed to be in. Miles away, the Saudi Boeing 747 was climbing exactly to that altitude, 14,000 feet. The controller, looking at his radar screen, saw the two blips moving closer. At the time, Delhi's radar system was outdated. It was primary radar. It could show him where the planes were horizontally, but it couldn't tell him how high they were. He couldn't see the vertical danger. He just watched the two dots merge into one, then drift apart. He called out. No response. He called again. Still, only silence. At 6:40 p.m., the collision tore the night open. Moving at hundreds of miles per hour, the tail of the Ilyushin Il-76 sliced through the left wing of the massive 747. It was a violent, shearing impact. For a few seconds, the 747 held together, but the structural damage was too great. It began to disintegrate. It spiraled toward the earth, shedding debris, seats, and lives. The impact hit the ground with the force of a bomb. The residents of Charkhi Dadri didn't know what had happened. They only heard a sound like thunder, followed by the sight of fire glowing against the black horizon. When rescuers arrived, they found a scene that defied description. There was no fuselage, no identifiable interior, just a field of twisted metal and fire. Sent by 60 people, every single soul on both flights was gone. Investigations revealed the Kazakh crew had drifted too low. The language barrier had created a fog of confusion, and the lack of advanced radar in Delhi meant no one could see the tragedy coming until it was far too late. The tragedy at Charkhi Dadri forced the aviation industry to look at itself. It pushed the implementation of the collision avoidance system, a technology that now sits in every cockpit, a digital guardian that screams at pilots if another plane comes too close. It forced airlines to demand stricter English proficiency. The sky is quieter now, safer, and guarded by the memories of those who were lost at Charkhi Dadri. If you liked our video, hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for more stuff.